Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Tilson Live. It is Tuesday. It is 2 o'clock. It is time for Tilson Live. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. I'm Eric Alarid, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family, coming at you as we do each and every single Tuesday with the one and only Dawn Dantzler, Vice President of Marketing and Customer Experience. Hello, Dawn. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Eric?
Super. It's, we've got the polar vortex going on. It's cold everywhere. We know. Everyone's shocked that it's cold in January. So anyway, we are here. We are live. We have heat going. All of our internets are working. We seem to be the roads are still a little dicey, so be safe out there if you're traveling. Hopefully you're not watching us at the same time. But if you are,
yeah, please don't ever watch us while you're traveling.
You will be edified. So jump on here, folks. Tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in. We want to hear from you. The whole show is about you. So we get on here every single week to talk about all things building a custom home on your land. That's what Tilson does. We've done that for 90, I guess we're at 92 years now. 92 years. 4 generations, we've been building homes on people's land in predominantly rural Texas, although we do build in almost all municipalities across the state, at least the inhabited areas. And we are here to answer all of those questions. So if you are thinking about building a home on your land or you're in the process already, we want to hear from you. We want to hear about any questions you might have regarding financing, about construction, about design changes, about code or what's required, septics, water wells, all kinds of site preparation, dirt pads, soil testing, engineered foundation designs, water wells, anything you need to know about building a home on your land. That's why we're here. But specifically, or not so, what are we talking about today, Dawn? What is the absolute topic that we're going to have today?
So today is the Ask Us Anything. So this episode is really all about you guys and all those things that Eric was just rattling off of the questions that you want to ask. We attempted to do a presentation last week and there were so many questions. I was like, you know what, this week we're gonna do it without a deck to make sure that we get to everybody's questions and aren't disappointing anybody who came looking for a pre-prepared presentation. So we are just here to answer all of your questions. And if you don't ask us any, we have to make up stuff to talk about and you guys don't want to watch that. So definitely put your questions in the comments, particularly if you're on Facebook. I'm seeing a whole lot of YouTube so far, but I'm not seeing anybody saying, hey, on Facebook. So if you could just give us a shout and I can make sure that connection's working.
Yep. Because we are live on Facebook, live on YouTube every single week. And we are here to answer, of course, like we said, your questions about building a home on your land. We got some questions flowing in. We are going to answer those. So hang in there with us, Rick. We'll get to the questions. Folks, jump in, tell us where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process that you're in, and of course, any and every question that you have. But we do want to hear from you. We want to know just kind of what you're up to, what you're doing, how you're dealing with the freeze. You got any weird tips that you're doing, any supplemental heat that you're doing? I know we got people with chickens and livestock and cows and all kinds of great stuff like that, probably busting up ice to get water for livestock. My wife was shocked that a 5-gallon bucket of water in the chicken coop froze over, and I'm like, well, physics. The whole 5 gallons. Yeah. So anyway, that's a lot of fun. Equipment, trying to get equipment winterized and staying alive. We got people putting anti-gel in all their diesel, and I've seen a lot of that kind of stuff floating around. So folks, jump in here, where you're watching from, where you're building, what part of the process you're in. All the questions. We want to hear all the questions, anything at all you're thinking about. If you're thinking about it, somebody else is thinking about it, be a leader, go out there, ask the question, be vulnerable. Most people don't know the answers anyway. That's why they come here, and that's why we're here. So ask those questions, folks. That's what we're here for. Who we got, Dawn, so far? Right. Somebody's coming in.
Let's see. We've got Rick coming in from YouTube. He's in Spring, Texas, and is new to the Tilson family. Hey, Rick.
Okay.
We've got Ashley saying hello from California.
Howdy, Ashley. Welcome.
Ashley, you're probably significantly warmer than we are.
It's a low bar right now.
Pretty much. All right. Rick has lots of questions. So let's get into the first one. Has there been any increase in materials this year so far, and are any expected?
Yes, there have, and yes, more are expected. Yeah, we're already seeing increases for shingles. We're seeing increases for James Hardie product. So the supply chain stuff is all completely worked out, and they ratcheted down their supply and production. A lot of places took plants down, took them offline to do maintenance on them. So that means that they're not producing as much, and the demand is still there. For better for worse, I think it's a good thing in Texas. The demand is still really high, and so yeah, the prices. I mean, we haven't seen anywhere we've had to have a price increase yet, but we are seeing increases in prices for sure.
Okay. Then he's also asking if we have a survey with elevation and topology, is that enough to determine pad location, or must we still underbrush?
You still will need to underbrush, Rick. Yep, for sure. Great question. So what he's saying is a topography, I guess. So a survey, and it's got an elevation. So it's a contour survey. It's showing, where the property slopes, how many feet, whether, I don't know what the contour lines, either one foot, 3 foot, 5 foot, 10 foot, contour lines on there showing which direction the property slopes. But you still are going to have it underbrush so that we can come in there and stake where the house is going to go, so that we can shoot that exact out of level, that exact location, so that the amount of dirt can be calculated, because you have not only amount of dirt for a pad itself, but also for the overbuild of the pad, and then it slopes down, usually a 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 slope. So needing to calculate that in 3 dimensions. So you have the area of it, and you have it going down, and then it's going to be thicker on one end, the low point of your property, than it is on the higher end. So yeah, just to get it, it'll be way, way more accurate if we can do it. I mean, could we do a rough calculation? You can, but it's going to be way more accurate if it's underbrushed. We wouldn't give you final pricing until it was underbrushed and we could actually stake it and shoot those grade shots for the footprint of the home. Great question, though.
Sense.
The topography survey will help us with planning drainage, though. That will be very, very helpful when planning the drainage long-term for that. So,
okay. And we've got TJ checking in from Santa Clarita, Southern California.
Oh, nice. Got a lot of Cali people jumping in. That's awesome.
I know. Rick is asking what the name is of the vendor for the Looter's stone on the Palo Duro.
No idea. No idea who the vendor is that provides the stone. But, doesn't matter. We have a whole program in our portfolio of all the different stone colors. Those are the ones that we select from, and you go from there.
All right. We've got Travis saying, going to start construction in El Campo next week. Awesome. That's exciting. Nice. We've got Jason saying hello again from Facebook. Hey, Jason.
Howdy, Jason. Welcome back.
Rick is asking about the outlet change for the islands. Can outlets no longer be placed on the sides of islands? If so, can you explain why? I ask because your design center has a pop-up sample that has to be installed on top of the island. So last week we talked about electrical code and how the government likes to protect us from things. And this is one of those changes that did come out with the latest versions. And they have determined that having the plugs on the side of the island is actually a burn risk if a small child or someone was to get entangled into a cord for like a crock pot or Instapot or something like that and yank it off of the countertop. There have been some burn injuries enough that the government has said, hey, you can't do this anymore. So yes, we are no longer allowed to install plugs in the sides of an island. So we are needing to move to those pop-ups that they're showing you, but they're actually really cool. They pop up, they go down into the island. So it's flat when it's not in use, and you can tap on them and they'll pop up, and it's got multiple plugs plus USB ports in them. And the top of it is actually a wireless charger for your phone. So it is a neat little upgrade that you get with that. But yeah, no more plugs in the side of the island.
In short, there's no good reason.
I tried.
Yeah, there's no good reason.
In short, if you have a plug on the side of your island, maybe don't plug your slow cooker in there to begin with. It should go on a different counter. Like if you've got something plugged in, be with it. But the government decided we can't do that. And so they're protecting us. Mm-hmm. All right. Denise is coming in from Pearland, Texas, closing on property in Washington County in February, and hopes to start all this process late 2024. Awesome.
Yeah, very cool.
We've got Brandon Martin saying, I suggest a fish tank water heater to keep the chicken water semi-thawed.
She bought some kind of water, and it is working. She bought some kind of water heater for it, Brandon, and I can't remember what it was because, I'm very selective about the things outside I take care of. I'll help with cows and equipment. I'm out on chickens and cats.
All right, fair enough.
I'll help with dogs. I'll help with some dogs. One dog.
One dog? Just
one dog that I like.
And on that note, my dog barked. Marcus saying hello from New Katie. We got Lori saying hello.
Hey, Lori, welcome.
Ashley is saying it's warmer than y'all, yes, but still cold. Northern California and low
Okay.
40s.
Yeah. So, twice as warm. That's what
Twice as
we
warm.
are.
We've got Cindy Kelly coming in from Allen. Have a meeting this coming Saturday at the Melissa office to get started on plans for building a rock wall in
very
Wilson
nice.
County. Very nice. We've got Jason. We'll be building in Angelina County. I am likely building a shop first and inquired with Encore about electrical needs. They told me they will run the electric from the pole I installed to the shop as well as the house free of charge as long as there's a meter on both. I found this unusual. Does that sound right?
It's not unusual. Yeah, no, Jason, every power company is a little bit different. And even power companies, they can do different in different regions. So maybe Encore up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area does it different from the Encore in Lufkin, the Angelina County area. So no, that's not at all uncommon. We have some that are like, hey, we'll, if you'll do the trench and put the conduit in, we'll pull the wire and provide the wire for free. I mean, they all kind of do their own thing. And some of them do absolutely nothing for free. They won't mobilize anything for less than $30,000. So be grateful for where you are. That's a really cool deal. That's pretty typical of East Texas because it's not, most of the work is in the clearing of the path. The ground's pretty friendly. Like you can trench it with a spoon. It's usually sandy, or maybe a little bit of clay, but it's pretty simple to trench. So it's not uncommon at all if they want to run that overhead and do all that. They're going to have a meter on both. That's also not uncommon. So you'll have one account you'll have with them, and that account will have separate meters that it's metered separately. So you'll get one bill, but it'll have separate meters broke out. So one for your shop or barn, and then a different one for your house. And again, that's not uncommon. So yeah, I mean, you can't beat free, Jason.
Free scrap.
Good deal.
All right, we got Ashley. When will you post photos, video tour of the new Palo Duro model? We'll eventually plan a trip out there to see it in person, but this spring break, Disneyland won the family vote. You didn't want to come to see the Palo Duro
San Marcos, Texas? Have you been to Aquarina Springs?
Have you been to the outlet malls?
Oh,
they're amazing.
Yes. So, confession time. I was supposed to be there this morning doing the video. I did not have confidence in the roads between my house and San Marcos, Texas to do that. So I pulled the plug on that yesterday afternoon. That's on me. But we have it rescheduled already. So probably a month after the video is shot ish, Dawn.
Yeah, we should be able to get the photos up within a week after the video is shot. And then the video, it'll be 3 to 4 weeks from when we shoot it. So soonish.
There you go.
Soon until some time. Yeah.
Real soon.
Real
About
soon.
a month.
All right. We've got Jen and Tom Gulch building in Blum Hill County. Not much has happened in the last 3 weeks because of the holidays, weather, and waiting on materials, but hopefully we'll close on our true custom in July, August.
Oh, very cool. Okay. Nice.
We've got Mark. I know I need a 12-inch culvert for my driveway in Burleson County. Can y'all obtain the permit and set the culvert, or is that for me to do?
Either way you want to do it, Mark. So we can get that done, or you can do it. And I would check even with the precinct of the county because it is done differently in different precincts. So I know, I don't know if you're closer to Caldwell or closer to Lyons or closer to Somerville. But those are some of those, obviously Caldwell's the county seat of Burleson County, but check and see, because sometimes the precinct themselves will set it. So if you buy the culvert and have it delivered out there, and you can do that from like McCoy's and Bryan or something like that. And some places if you'll have the culvert delivered and like a load of rock, the county will set it for you. Otherwise, if they won't do that, no problem. Either we can get a bid to have it delivered and set, or you can have it delivered and set. Either way, however you want to do it, Mark. It doesn't make any difference to us. We'd be glad to help you with it if you want to.
Okay. Steve, who's building Lena B and Wilson Carrier paint finish Saturday. It's going quickly. Awesome.
Oh, good. All right. Well, Hill Country is getting up to speed finally.
Yeah. We've got Red and Richmond Rosenberg. What are the basic things Tilson does for a person waiting to build on their own lot?
Waiting to build. Basic things we're wanting to build, not waiting.
Wanting to build. Sorry.
Oh.
Wanting to.
Okay. Well, so we will. I mean, if you look at the pricing on the website, that's about as basic as it gets. The pricing on the website would be the house that you're seeing it there in an unincorporated part of what in your case would be Fort Bend County. The the house completely finished with all built-in appliances, stubbed out for all the utilities. So in other words, it includes really everything. So I mean, we're doing tile standard on all the wet areas. You're going to get granite countertop standard on all your services, kitchens, bathrooms, all that. The cabinets, the countertops, the plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, floor coverings, interior and exterior paint, Lennox appliances, James Hardy system, Owens Corning shingles have a limited lifetime warranty, Delta plumbing fixtures have a limited lifetime warranty. All that stuff is included. All that wouldn't be included would be stuff that's extemporaneous or outside the home. So if you need a water well, for example, that's not included.
Mm-hmm.
If you need a septic system, that's not included in that base pricing that's on the website. Not to say that we can't do all of those things, because we can do all of them. But we never know kind of who needs what. If you need a water well, how deep does it need to be? If you need a septic system, is it conventional? Is it aerobic? Is it a drip system, low dosage? So that's why those prices aren't included, because every piece of property is a little bit different. That's what we do. And then of course we offer free design consultation. So you come in, we sit down with you, bring a plan that you like, use one of our plans, do customization from there, or just use our custom options from there. Either way, doesn't cost you anything. We don't charge for making changes to the plans. That's all included. We also, when you do enter into a contract with us, we don't charge you for site evaluation. We don't charge you extra for inspections. We don't charge you extra for soil testing and foundation design. We don't charge you for something else we didn't. Oh, for your design, like you get time with a designer to pick all your color selections. That's included. So included with a warranty, our own warranty department. So those are the kind of things we do. I hope maybe that answers your question. Let's get you going, Red. If you have more questions, ask them.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Betty Howdy building in LaPorte C in Lavaca County, and we're very pleased with Colton and his crews. They poured our slab 1222, and in just 3 short weeks, we have windows in and roof on before the freeze. Awesome.
Nice. All right, Betty. Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you. We got Jason building the Angelina in Montauk. We're super excited. Weatherford office has been amazing to work with. Awesome. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
We've got Chris asking, what is the current timeline for building contract to closing?
12 months.
All right. We've got Ashley saying pushing it for the weather is completely understandable. With a CHP husband, he drills into me safety first and just stay home and off the roads in bad weather.
I know. I just felt a little old doing that, but
it's better to be safe. It's better to be safe.
Whatever.
And what I always say, it's actually not about your ability to drive. It's how much you trust all the other drivers on the road.
That was a consideration watching what I did yesterday morning driving. It didn't take a lot of convincing to say maybe another day.
Yeah, it's not really about you. It's about everybody else.
I had my concerns.
And then we have somebody asking, hey, Tilson, where are you located? So we have 12 design centers throughout the state. All but one of them have models. The Angleton ones are currently in process mode. But yeah, we have design centers in Angleton, Bryan College Station, Katy, Spring, Huntsville, Waco, San Marcos, Georgetown, Bernie, Melissa, Waxahachie, and Weatherford. And we build in 130 counties throughout the state of Texas. So we are all over the place. All over the place.
Hard to not find us.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. But anyway, we've got a lot of questions. What for like the new people, what's a culvert?
Great question. All right. So a culvert is very fancy word for pipe. It is a pipe in the ground. So picture a road going through. You got land on both sides, and that road crowns in the middle, and then it has a ditch on both sides. So you got ditches, and you got a road, and then you got land. Well, you got to drive from the road to the land, and you can't jump over the ditch. So you put a pipe in the ditch, going lengthwise in the ditch, usually 16 feet minimum. Do 20. Do yourself a favor. Do 20 or 22 foot. And then so you put that in the ditch, cover that with some clay base, rock on top of that, and that's your construction drive, or at least the beginnings of it. So that has you cross the road. The pipe is there so that when it does rain, water that's flowing down that ditch, like it's designed to do, off the road, down into the ditch, can continue flowing downhill through that pipe. That pipe is the conduit for flood water to flow through. That way you're not just damming it up by putting dirt in the ditch and crossing it. So a culvert is a large pipe, typically on a road, at least 12 inches is probably the minimum diameter they're going to require. We see a lot of 18s, 24s, but 12 to 24 inches is going to be pretty close. And then in some extreme situations, they'll actually have doubles. So I've seen some double 12s, double 18s, double 24s, and some of our Texas Grand Ranch areas where there's a lot of water flowing. You may have to have, and again, that's why the county determines that. So our friend from Burleson County earlier that said the county said 12-inch culvert. You call the county, and the county will tell you. You tell them your address. They issue you your 911 or your physical address, and then based on that address, you call that precinct that you're in. There's usually 3 to 5 precincts in every county. You call that precinct, give them your address, and the precinct will tell you what size culvert that you need to have, based on whatever FEMA flood studies that they have access to know how many cubic feet per minute of water are going to move through there, and all kinds of other calculations. I think it's kind of a guess, but it's that's how that works.
All right, makes sense. Rick is asking if we have a time frame for the first Muddy Boots tour of the Lone Star. So it's looking like it's probably going to be sometime Marchish. We were making good progress, and we were thinking end of February, but I'm not sure how far back the weather and then the freeze. We had a lot of rain, and then we had the freeze. So probably somewhere end of February, middle of March, somewhere in that time frame is when we'll be ready. And that for anybody not familiar with that term, that is what we usually call it behind the sheetrock when it's in one of our models. But it's just the opportunity when mechanicals are in for you to come and take a look at the foundation and the framing before we put up all the drywall, so that you can see everything that's in the walls, because that's really where the quality of our homes are. So we like to give everybody the opportunity to see that before we cover it up with all the pretty.
Perfect.
We've got Fernando saying, I want to build in a 1 acre lot in Crandall, Texas. I'm still paying for it. Will Tilson take over the lot debt and add it to the price of the home, or is it better to have the lot paid off, which is better?
How does that work, Dawn?
So the way that it's going to work with us, most of our customers finance through our EasyBuy program. So what we're looking for is for you to have 10% equity in the final value of your home. So that's going to be the value of the land plus the value of the house that you're building on it. We're looking for 10% of that number. If you have met that, we would just have you continue to make the payments on your property. So you do not need to have it completely paid off. And we are not going to assume that debt, because we never assume ownership of your property. So you're going to continue to make those payments on that land lien during the time that construction is happening, but you are not going to end up paying anything during construction. So we do all of that out of our money. We pay for the construction, and we're not charging you any interest or fees to do that. And then once construction is completed and we're going to close on your home, whatever balance is left on that land loan would be rolled into your final mortgage. So you would end up having one loan at the end and one mortgage payment. So they would pay off the land loan at that time, and then you would just be paying the one mortgage.
Simple as that.
Yeah, simple as that. It's a good part. We are the only ones in the state of Texas, and honestly, I think west of the Mississippi that handle it that way. I know of one other builder in the country that does it that way.
That's right. That is right. So yeah, folks, again, keep asking your questions. This is an Ask Us Anything episode. We want to hear from you. Any questions you have, again, about site preparation, about driveways, septic systems, water wells, what the county requirements are, what the city requirements are, water taps, sewer taps. These are questions we get asked about. We get asked about financing questions. We get asked about design changes. We get asked about any of that kind of stuff that has to do with building a home on your land. Maybe you have a house to sell first. How does that work? Maybe you're building on a family land. There's already a water well there. What do we do in those situations? We had some great insight earlier about power companies, how they work. And they are different in different parts of the state. So again, drop your question into the chat. Always, of course, if you just want to tell us where you're building, what part of the process you're in, where you're watching from, we want to hear that too. But specifically, if you got questions about anything related to building on your land, we want to hear from y'all. We do have some usuals that come up, Dawn. What are some of the usual questions that come up? Something like, well, we got it here. Does the land have to be paid off first? We got that answered. What is the... Let's see, there's something to be said for maybe what's the equity requirement for Tilson's EasyBuy program? How does that work?
So that's that 10% equity
Yeah, let's go into
that
that
I
a
was
little
talking
more. Yeah.
about. So yeah, the reason we're going to look at what the value, we're going to have a third party appraiser come and determine on the plans that you design with us. They're going to say, okay, if this home were built today and finished on this lot, this is how much it would be worth. So they're going to look at comparable home sales in the area. So they're looking for homes that have recently sold near your property, and they're going to determine a value of your final home plus the land that it sits on. The reason that we're looking for the value of both is because once we put that house on that land, the two are tied together forever. It's an improvement. Your home is an improvement on your property. They are one and the same. So that's why both of those are taken into consideration, because both of those are taken into consideration for your mortgage. So we're looking for 10% of that final value as that third party appraiser has determined it to be. So if you're having a $350,000 home being built on a $50,000 piece of property, that value is $400,000, and we're looking for 10% of that. So as long as you have that, there is no down payment to be made, and we are going to handle the cost of construction throughout the time frame. And you've got no interest payments on a construction loan. You've got no fees associated with it. You're not paying us another penny until we actually close on the home. That's how.
Awesome.
That's how it works.
I got another one that comes up. How come I got to pick all my colors and everything before y'all even start construction? Why do I got to pick the color of my, the color of the grout color of my half bath before you'll even set forms on my house? What is the deal with that?
Well, a couple of reasons with that. The first is what I was talking about with figuring out the appraisal and how much your house costs. We want to make sure that we know the cost of everything before we actually start constructions. We don't want things to pop up on you and surprise you. We want to make sure that you know exactly what your home is going to cost when you're qualifying for your mortgage. So if there were any upgrades to happen or things like that, that would affect your price. The biggest reason, though, is just availability of materials. We want to make sure that we know all of those things ahead of time, so we're not delayed. We're not stopping construction for you to pick a grout color, or stopping construction waiting for the cabinets that you just picked to come in. So we get you to make all of those decisions up front, so we can have all of those things queued up to be ordered at the right time and get them through. I mean, that's not to say that there aren't going to be some changes after you pick your colors. Sometimes manufacturers do discontinue things, or we find out that something's not working in the field and we get you to pick something different. But we're not going to change anything that you've picked without telling you about it and having you sign off on a new selection for it. But yeah, that's why we have you picking everything out.
Yeah, lead times is a real thing. Nobody wants to be stuck holding inventory. Another one is I want to do a little bit more breaking down of that time frame. I know I was kind of short with that answer of 12 months, but they knew they knew what they're asking, because they asked from contract to closing. So
yes, so very much props for that.
Yeah. So let me give that a little bit, broke out a little bit, because with build on your lot, there are two parts of that. I know that most customers don't see it that way. It's I give you a deposit, I want keys. And that's exactly how it should be. But the reality is there's property development, and then there is construction. So there's some due diligence, some property development going on, and then the actual construction. So if we're say 12 months, the goal is to break it up 4 and 8. So 4 months of, I did the 8 over here, so you can't see I have 8 fingers, 4 and 8. We have 4 months of upfront due diligence and compliance and permitting and land preparation work. Okay, so for instance, those are things like the actual plans themselves. You're going to sign off on a full set of those. The color selections that Dawn just talked about. You're also going to talk about the engineer foundation design, so the geotechnical investigation, engineer foundation design, obviously the site evaluation that we do on the property. You're also having a loan prepared while that's going on. So you're doing all your loan applications, the appraisal that Dawn was talking about is being done. There's paperwork going back and forth between you and the mortgage company. All that stuff is happening, and then the permitting. So we have to submit usually that foundation design and the site that we're doing, and some kind of a septic design or on-site sewer design. All has to be submitted to the county. There's a little bit of wait time there while they get back and forth there. So all of that stuff that when you're doing a resale or a production home is already determined. But on building on your own land, all that must be done up front. The utility application. So you're going to make application with that power company like Jason McDaniel was talking about earlier. You got to meet them out there, meet someone on site. They're going to walk you through if they're going to do overhead power, underground power, where they're going to set their pedestal, where the transformer is going to go. All that's being done in that upfront 4 months. And then once all of that's done and ready to go, we've got a permit and we've got loan approval, then we actually start construction. And that construction, from setting of the forms to completion, we're shooting for about 8 months, less if we can. And remember, during that time, there's no interest accruing. You're not making any payments. If you're using Tilson's EasyBuy program, there's no interest accruing. There's no payments being made. There's no draws being done. And so that's a little bit broader in what all's happening in that 12 months. It's not 12 months of hammering nails and construction.
Yeah.
So.
And like you said, it's really good that Chris knew to ask from contract to close, because you need to be very careful when you're talking to builders if you just ask about construction time, a lot of them are only going to tell you about that second half. So make sure that you are asking that question from the time that we sign an agreement to the end of construction. What is the time frame? Because any built on your lot builder is going to have that upfront time that Eric was talking about.
Cool.
So we've got Tiffany saying we have a 2-acre lot in Saddle Creek Forest, Waller County. We are interested in installing a pool at the time of build. Do we have a pool builder up front, or does Tilson oversee that also?
So we don't have a pool builder that we use or oversee. You'd choose that yourself, and you can do that 2 ways. One, if you wanted it to all be funded in the same loan, you would not do the Tilson EasyBuy program. You do a one-time close construction loan to make sure that the pool can appraise and fit into that loan. But if you're going to do Tilson's EasyBuy, you do the EasyBuy program, you close on that, and then you would do the pool separately just after closing of the home, when the home's completely finished. A couple of reasons that can be advantageous, and that is we don't want to tear anything up that they've put in. So there's a lot of electrical, a lot of plumbing that goes in with putting in a pool. Obviously, we can stub for all it. We have the house, the electrical service, and everything ready to go for it. But basically, if you're wanting to do a pool with the build at the same time and have them all done together, that would need to be a one-time close construction loan, which we offer that product as well.
Okay, perfect. And then Red is asking, as a result of Tilson's site survey, is that when recommendations are made to build up the site, especially if the land holds water? Does Tilson provide the soil necessary for site buildup?
Great question. Okay, so yes, we do it. That site evaluation is where we would determine if any kind of how much and what kind of material needs to be brought in. Depending on where you're building, Red, and I don't know where it is, some money is already put into the contract to do that, depending on where you're building. Again,
yeah, she said where she's from, but didn't mention where she wants to build.
Yeah, and so what we would do is a couple of things. Number one, if any portion of the property is in the floodplain, the mortgage company and your insurance company are going to require, and the county for that matter, are all going to require that it be built out of the floodplain. Hopefully exactly where we're building is not in the floodplain, because that could be a problem depending on the county. But in most cases, they want you 18 inches to 24 inches, so 1.5 to 2 feet above base flood elevation. And that's typically the finished floor of the home, so the slab. When we do a pad, if we do a pad, it's typically 2 feet thick minimum. And then we have a 12-inch, 11-inch, 12-inch concrete slab on top of that. So you're typically going to get 3 feet above. Anyway, but yeah, if it holds water, we're definitely going to want it. We will be shooting grades of not just the footprint of the home where that's going to be, but also, all the way around to make sure. So Richmond Rosenberg, it's flat and it holds water. Yeah, it was all rice farms back in the day. So, Fort Bend County definitely is very strict about flood compliance, flood control. Because the land is so flat around there, it's hard to get water to move downhill when there's not a lot of hill to go down. So they're going to make sure that we can prove that we're out of the floodplain, and that we can mitigate or convey water around that foundation, where we don't drain it onto a neighboring property. We get it back to the street, where they're designed to have flood control, and then again back to that ditch, through the culvert, and on the way out to the storm drain or wherever it's supposed to go. So probably to the Brazos River is where it's headed.
Yeah, so in that area, we're at a 24-inch height.
24-inch, yeah, minimum. I think they require that. The whole county requires that, if I'm not mistaken, floodplain or not. So the biggest thing would be if you have an actual survey. If you don't have a survey yet, that'd be a good thing to go get a boundary survey with corner pins located, all easements shown, and flood zone. If no portion of the property is in the flood zone, then it's really just a matter of us shooting grades with you, getting with you to brainstorm. Hey, what do you think about doing later? Or just going to be the house, and where do you think your driveway is going to want to go? Okay, let's shoot some grades. Let's make sure that we can make sure water flows away from the house all the way around, and then we go from there. If a portion of the property is in the floodplain, we are going to have to go through the county flood control, emergency management, and all that, and they're going to have to permit it differently than if you're not in the floodplain.
Okay.
Maybe Brandon can shed light on that if he'd like to, with his chicken water heaters.
Brandon's been through it. Yes.
He knows a thing or two about Fort Bend County. Yes.
Mm-hmm. We got Ashley asking, do we need to sell our home in California first, or does Tilson work with contingencies, or is it a case-by-case basis?
Case by case. Yeah. On our EasyBuy program, it is in fact case by case for sure. We can do that. If you're not doing EasyBuy, they're usually not that flexible. It has to be sold first. But when we're doing EasyBuy and it's Tilson's program, we're the underwriters on that. We can go case by case. So what we typically require, actually, in a situation like that, we'd want a CMA, a competitive market analysis from a broker in the area that's going to be selling it, giving you and us an idea of about how long things are taking to sell in the area, about percentage-wise what they're selling as a percentage of asking price. So just for easy purposes, let's say that things are selling for 90% of asking price. So that means if it's $500,000 list, it's selling for $450,000. Whatever that number is. I'm not saying that's the number, but a CMA would tell us and you what that number is, so that you have a better idea of, how much money you would end up getting netting, from equity standpoint. We would need to see what what the balance is, what the mortgage is, if there is one. And then again, lastly would be how many days on market is probably going to take to get that sold, because you'd want to get it listed, sometime. Let's say it's taking 3 months to sell homes in that area. We'd want to be sure we get it listed, somewhere 3 to 4 months prior to your home being completed.
All right. Makes sense.
I hope that helps.
Absolutely. So you guys keep putting your questions in there, but we'll talk about some of the more common ones that we get. One of the other ones we hear a lot is, how much can I change Tilson's home plans? So we have a whole library of plans on our website, and we get asked a lot, how many changes can I make? Like, how much can I change?
So you can make a lot. I have also learned that just because you couldn't, you should. But yes, we're very, very flexible on our designs, because nothing is prefabricated, nothing is nothing's panelized, everything is stick built, which simply means it's built on site. It's cut on site. We don't use trusses, we're not using wall panels, we're not using SIPs, we're not using any of that kind of stuff, structurally insulated panels. Everything is cut on site, custom. So because of that, we can design anything, because we do 3D model all of our plans and get the framing done on them. What I will say is that on all of our designs, we have the custom options. So we have, all of the different things that are typically done, that we've seen a lot of customers do. So what we've done is kind of taken those things that are done a lot and had our award-winning design and drafting team do them on the plans so that they work and function. Not just buildable in the field, but also functional for when you and your family move in. So things like when you see the alternative kitchen, that's a very common change that we saw people making. So we want to be sure, how do we do this across the portfolio where it fits on other plans and works well, instead of just taking the island out of one house and putting it in another house and praying that it fits and all the drawers work and doors work. The other ones are like the cathedral ceiling in the family room or under the covered porch, those kinds of things. How do we do that and not create a flat valley somewhere that's going to hold water? So all of those custom options that you see, I highly, highly encourage people to stick as close to those as possible, because again, we've built them. We know they work. We have the designs to go with them. We have the takeoffs to go with them. And we know customers have been very, very happy with those. So it's not to say that you shouldn't go and do further customization. If you want to, you can. But you're not going to hurt yourself staying close to those things and executing very well.
Yeah. Well, and be open for conversations when you're talking to your design consultant, or even once they send the changes to the drafting team. Be open to them, asking, okay, what are we really trying to accomplish here? Maybe doing it this way instead of what you're thinking might be a better way to do it. Really, we want it to be a collaborative process so we can figure out what's best for you and your new home.
Great point.
We have Tractor Jeff asking, what about a sauna in the master bath?
Haven't done one that I know of. Doesn't mean that we couldn't, particularly if it's its own self-contained, kind of apparatus. I've seen some of those, but I don't know that any of that we have built from scratch that we've made a sauna. And I don't know if you're wanting to have like the smoke pit in the middle of it that you pour water on, or if you're wanting to have something a little more automated, a little more modern. That's probably what I would lean towards. But yeah, not going to say we wouldn't do it. I just need to see some more specs on exactly what you're wanting to do and the size of the master bath, because saunas can take up quite a bit of space. I've also seen ones that you zip up, and that kind of looks strange, but not to say it wouldn't work.
All right. Rick is asking, do you allow custom islands versus customizing one of your standard options?
So, Rick, we need to see what it is you're talking about. So if we're talking about kind of an antique thing that was bought somewhere, we'd really want to get a good beat or a handle on that. It's going to be really difficult to add like outlets to, and certainly to add plumbing to. But again, not necessarily impossible. We're probably not going to install one that's bought at like an antique deal or something like that, because we have no idea the structural integrity of it, the functionality of it. There's no warranty on it whatsoever, and we can't waive a warranty. Like by law, we have to provide a warranty on everything that we do. So it's probably wouldn't be something I need to see more like what you're talking about, because and I'll also say that cat's out of the bag now. We don't necessarily show everything in our design centers that our cabinet manufacturer can do. They can do a lot. Kentmore Cabinets is incredibly talented, and they have a broad portfolio, from the really, really simple entry level stuff, which that's not what we do, to kind of a mid range, which is what we do, to high end multi-million-dollar remodels, and new construction that they do. So, I mean, you can get a cabinet package in a house that's $15,000 or $20,000, all the way up to $115,000 to $130,000 cabinet package. So, give us an idea of once you start with, if you're working with someone. I think you said you were in Spring or someone there, kind of what you're after, kind of your vision, or whatever your inspiration is. Let us get with Kentmore Cabinets. Actually, they have a facility close in Spring at Rayford, on Rayford Road, or close to Rayford Road. A design center that we've actually got a video where we did a tour there on our YouTube channel. But anyway, let us check out and find something close that we can stand behind and that we can hold a manufacturer's feet to the fire on if it doesn't perform for some reason.
Okay. Ashley is saying, I think I've asked this before, but does Tilson's EasyBuy program work with the VA loan?
So yes, we can work with the VA loan, Ashley. And I think you own the property, right? If I remember correctly. So, or you at least have an equity pay. So you can still do a VA loan if you want to. You don't if you own the property or even have money paid into it, you don't necessarily have to have 100% VA financing, because you're not going to be financing 100%, because you may be financing 100% of what the house price is, but your land has value. So let's say, like in Dawn's example, the house is, $400,000, and your land's valued at $100,000, but you've got 50 paid into it. So really, you're talking about $500,000 in total value, of which you would need a loan for 450. So you're not needing 100% financing. If you do want to go the 100% VA finance, let's say that you don't own land yet and you're wanting to roll that in, or you barely have any money, you just bought the land maybe last month and you don't have a lot of money paid into it. In a situation like that, I would recommend doing a one-time close construction loan, not Tilson's EasyBuy program, because we're going to require the 10% equity regardless of what loan type it is. So if you needed to do something more like a 97 or 98 or 100% VA loan, that's where we would come in and recommend that construction loan. But if you already own the land or have a lot of equity built into the land, then Tilson's EasyBuy works just fine with a VA loan. Caveat. The appraisals can get weird on VA financing. So, for example, an appraisal is done up front, and all of our stuff we do is VA approved. Like all of our framing methods, building codes we build to, amenities, carpet, all that kind of stuff. Well into VA compliance, well exceed VA compliance. They do an appraisal up front for the EasyBuy. Okay. Conventional, let's say not VA, when the house is completed, the lender will reach out to that appraiser and say, hey, remember that house you appraised like 8 months ago? Here's the plans. Here's the address. Here's the customer's name. Here's a map. It's done, and we need you to go verify everything. Appraiser's like, yep, cool, got it right here. Drives it there and does it. In VA world, the original appraisal goes up to the cloud, which it does in conventional world, the appraiser cloud. You can't pick the appraiser, can't hand pick them. And then fast forward 8, 10 months, whenever the thing is done, it goes back up into the cloud, and you almost never get the same appraiser. In fact, you rarely get the same appraiser. You almost never get the same appraiser. And so the new appraisers have opinions about things. And that appraiser could go out there, and we've seen appraisals change $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, not to the customer's favor. So that is the one caveat with the EasyBuy program and the VA loan that I don't like how the VA does that. I don't think they're doing our veterans a good service. I think it's something that accommodates the VA more than it accommodates the veteran. But speaking of opinions, that is a matter of opinion. But I think it's something they do for expediency's sake, and I don't appreciate it. There.
All right. Ashley says, gotcha. Thank you for being honest about different options, even if it's not with Tilson. We purchased the land 2 years ago and have been Team Tilson since about a month after because of your honesty.
Oh, well, I want to be sure.
Thank you, Ashley.
We still will do a one-time closed construction loan, and you can still build.
Yeah, you could still do it with Tilson. It just wouldn't be our EasyBuy financing. So you don't need to switch builders.
We'll do that.
But yeah, we would recommend probably a different financing program if you're a little nervous.
Or a backup, Ashley. What I may do is let's get you approved. Let's go the VA route, but let's get you approved on a conventional program because you probably could qualify on it. And then once we get to completion, if something just blows up with the VA one, you've got a loan, you've got a conventional loan that works. That's what I recommend doing.
Makes sense.
Because I'm a 2 is 1 and 1 is none kind of guy. I'm all about redundancies.
Absolutely. Tiffany's asking, can I buy items and you install them? Let's say mirrors in the bathroom or pendants in the kitchen, for example, or everything needs to be chosen through the design center.
Everything needs to be chosen through our design center. However, because you asked specifically about mirrors, we can leave the mirrors off, and you can install your own or have some installed by someone else, but we cannot install owner provided items, especially pendant like electrical items that are going to be wired in, because they just don't. We don't know the sourcing of them. We don't know the warranty of them. And it gets to a big finger pointing deal of, well, they're not working because they were installed wrong. Like, no, they're not working because they were manufactured poorly. Like, we use our electricians, plumbers, HVAC tech, all that stuff, install stuff that they source from our wholesalers that we negotiate with, so that if and when something goes wrong, we don't have to wonder whose fault it is. We say, hey, Mr. Plumber, or hey, Mr. Electrician, or hey, Miss HVAC person, your stuff's not working. Go fix it. And there's no pointing. Whereas that's all we've ever seen happen when it's a customer provided thing. I'm not saying a finger pointing between customer and Tilson. It's finger pointing between manufacturer and installer. And you're out in the middle with a non-working thing. And that's frustrating. So, and then insurance has gotten more and more finicky about that. The HVAC, electrical, plumbing, general liability insurance about installing things that are not sourced, that are sourced online. For example, Wayfair, Amazon. Not to say some stuff can't work just fine, but some of it doesn't meet the same manufacturing standards as others and catches on fire and makes insurance companies twitchy, as Tom would say.
That's my technical
It
term.
is.
The other thing I do want to be clear about, the design center is not the limit to what we offer. So it is the most common pre-priced options that we offer. So we try very hard to curate a program that we know is going to be a good fit for the majority of our customers, but it's not the end of what we can offer you. So when you're in our design center, you might be looking at a selection, small selection of tiles from Dow Tile. We can get others. So if there is a particular light fixture or pendant style that you are looking for, bring that to your design consultant and we can talk to our suppliers and see what they have that's similar. Some cases it might actually be the exact same product, and we can do a custom price request on that for you. So just because it's not in the design center doesn't mean we can't get you what you're looking for.
Well said.
And then Ashley is sharing, trust me, we are very familiar with the finickiness of the VA and all aspects of VA services.
Well, I'm not. I regret that you're going through that, because it really should. They should take better care of our veterans. Quite frankly, it's a big bureaucratic problem, and good people suffer, and that stinks. Shouldn't be that way. But that's all I know about that. All right. So again, folks, we'll do kind of a last call for questions. Drop your questions in. We want to hear from you.
Y'all are shy today.
A little bit shy. That's okay. It's cold. It's cold. It's chilly. But yeah, if you got some more questions, we want to hear from you. We got some other things going on that Dawn's going to give us a little bit of insight on. We'll get some seminars and some muddy boot stuff. So yes. What do we got going? Guys, again, drop questions in. We'll make this kind of a last call for questions, and then we will let y'all get on about your day.
All right. Well, I just dropped a link in the comments to, we do have a Muddy Boots event coming up in a customer home this weekend on the Richland Chambers Reservoir. So it is our Cedar Creek, which is actually a 2-story plan out there on the lake, beautiful lake views. So good opportunity to come out and see a Tilson home under construction. It has the spray foam insulation in, and you'll be able to take a look at all the mechanical systems. So our regional construction manager is going to be out there kind of explaining Tilson's entire construction process and show and tell with, as I told them, the world's biggest prop. So we've got this whole house to show you how we do all those things. So it's a great opportunity. And they have promised me they are bringing in heaters. So we will make it a little bit warmer in the house. But it also is spray foam. So you'll get to feel what that's like compared to traditional insulation. So we have that going on. And then I do believe we have a couple of, just our regular seminars happening this weekend. So we've got one in Georgetown and San Marcos and Huntsville are all doing seminars in the design center. So it's a great time to come out and learn more in person and be surrounded by other people who are looking to build on their land and hear some of their.
That's the biggest thing is you get so much, you get a lot from not only, of course, sitting on the seminar and talking to our folks and listening to that, but like-minded people in the room. Again, these are folks that are the exact same part of the process that you're in. Think about doing this and mixing up ideas, asking questions, them asking questions. You learn a tremendous amount. You make cool connections with people that are looking to do the exact same thing you're doing. It's like a little Tilson meetup. And there's great ideas that come out of a lot of those interactions, and great friendships we found that come out of those interactions.
Yeah. Rick, he's sorry he got distracted by his wife's plans for homemade chili. Going blank on questions. It's okay. It's okay. Tell us about the chili recipe. That is a great distraction. Tell us what's in that recipe.
Yeah.
Red is asking, does Tilson offer alternatives to the old-fashioned hot water tank heater, tankless water heaters?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Ashley is saying, question, what's your thought on the lawsuit over Texas Pete hot sauce not being made or bottled in Texas? Is it false advertising?
Couldn't tell you. I don't eat it. If it ain't made here, I'm not having it. So yeah, not in Texas. I will make exceptions for hot sauces produced in Louisiana and Mexico. But you got to border me. You got to border me to have a chance at me trying your hot sauce. But yeah, Texas Pete. Yeah, when I saw it, I think I saw it for the first time. I truly saw it for the first time in like New Jersey. I was visiting my brother when he lived up there for like 12 or 14 years, or whatever. And I'm like, what is this? That's Texas Pete. No, it is not.
No.
This is not Texas Pete. But so yeah, my thoughts are you reap what you sow. That's my thoughts.
Look, Texas is very popular, and the rest of the country just wants to like pretend they're as cool. So
we got a lot. It
reminds me of that. Which salsa company was it that had the like? Where's that made? New York City.
Pace, I think it was Pace. Yeah. Yeah, get a rope. That was their thing. Yeah, that was That was an interesting ad campaign. But yeah,
I think it's
I'm all
weird.
about.
I think it's interesting that you can sue about it.
Oh, no, she just hit the nail on
Yeah.
the head. She can't sue a file suit over anything. That's a fact. I have bad news for you, Ashley. It ain't just Californians we're finding.
Yeah.
It's
I think the defense is his name is Texas Pete. We never said he was from Texas. Texas is his first
it's
name.
just what his friends call him.
Yeah, that's just what his friends call him.
When you do get here, Ashley, when you get here, I would make I highly recommend you head to the Latin food aisle of your local HEB, and there are like 3 shelves 25 feet long of all different kinds of salsa. Try them all. The best ones, in my opinion, come in the plastic squeeze containers. So almost like they're like exactly what you would get at a food truck or like a hole in the wall gas station selling breakfast tacos. They now bag it, not bottle it, they bag it, and they sell it at HEB, and it's fantastic. They have habanero, they have creamy jalapeno. It's decadent, but your mind will be blown, and you'll never have to worry about a fraudulent, out of state hot sauce ever again.
All right, good tip.
We can end on that. So, folks, obviously, it does not have to end here. We got a website that's open 24/7. We got new home specialists standing by to talk you through the high-level questions, set appointments for you guys. We'd love to hear from you. Ask those questions. We have a YouTube channel that's got hundreds of videos, not just ones like these, but though these get posted there. If you didn't see the whole thing or didn't catch this one, go check it out on YouTube. It'll be posted over there shortly. And they have subtitles, and every now and then they get my language right.
They get it right, yeah.
Sometimes they do. It happens. We got an Instagram page where we share lots of photos, that and Facebook as well. Lots of photos. We always give you all the details on those as well. We tell you, what the tile color, cabinet color, stone color, roof color, paint colors, all those are, so that you can go back to the website and dream, make it your own. We've got 12 locations open 7 days a week, except for yesterday and part of today. But
except in weather.
We can get to them. We have design centers open 7 days a week that have model homes that are fully furnished, ready for you to walk through, tour. We always highly recommend making an appointment because we want to be sure you get your questions answered. So we want to be sure we have someone set aside, even if it's just for 30 minutes or an hour, to make sure that if you're making the trip out there, that because you may not have questions now, but I promise you, when you get out there and you walk through the model home, you're going to have questions. So set aside some time, make an appointment so that you're there. We're not going to hound you. We're not going to sneak a house into the trunk of your car and sell it to you. It's not going to happen. It's not a timeshare sales thing. It's genuinely answering your questions, getting you comfortable with the process. So
Rick had some kind words, and I just wanted to say thank you. He said thank you both for always helping us to make well-informed decisions. You've been a blessing throughout this process. Oh, thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Rick, appreciate that, man. Well, hey, we hope we get to help you guys and build your dream home. So all that to say, we have exhausted our time here together today, but we'll be here more. And between now and then, we genuinely soon hope to make you part of the Tilson family. We'll see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.